To access the scheduler, click on the scheduler icon on the left-hand side of your screen. This immediately takes you to the provider view. This view is split up into a number of tabs corresponding to the number of providers you have set up in the system. Each has their own schedule. To schedule an appointment, all you have to do is click on a time slot. It'll take you to your Schedule Patient tab, and you can look up a pre-existing patient. I'll type in their name, it'll search, I'll select them, and all I have to do now is give a reason for appointment and set a schedule status. I'll save, and that patient will be added to the schedule. Now, clicking another schedule slot, I can actually add a new patient this way as well. If I check the New Patient button and enter the first and last name and fill out the information and then give them a reason for appointment, add a schedule status, we can save, and that patient will be scheduled. They'll also be added to your system. Now, if we want to, we can click on that patient's name to reopen their scheduled appointment, and we can actually go and edit that patient by clicking on the Edit Patient button. This will let us fill out the full set of their information. When a patient comes in, we have the option to check them in. We can do that by clicking away from their name. For example, I'm clicking in the lower left and clicking our check-in icon on the left-hand side. That will switch them to the checked-in status. Once that's been clicked, it will actually switch to checked out, and we can check out that patient as well. Before we check the patient in, we have the option to delete that appointment over here. You'll see though, once they've been checked out, that we actually lose that ability. There are some other shortcuts available from this quick menu. Starting here, we have Edit, Check In, and Follow Up. Clicking Follow Up will actually let me select a different date to schedule a follow-up appointment. Then, as far as shortcuts to different modules, we have Eligibility Verification, Payments, and we can generate a super bill for the patient. If we're still using paper super bills, those can be created for specific patients through the schedule. We can generate a financial summary, view the patient's ledger. Then, we can generate mailing lab labels. Finally, if we need to, we can add notes for the patient that can be checked later. Let's say the patient that I just checked in is not available at 10:30, and we actually want to move their appointment to 11. The easiest way to do that is to click and hold on their name, and we can drag them into a different time slot, and we can even drag them into a different provider. I'll leave them in our 11 a.m. slot. This is also available in the monthly view. If you click on month, you'll see all the appointments that we have scheduled for the month. Now let's say that this one on the 22nd should actually be on the 21st. I can click and drag and change the day of that appointment. Because this view doesn't specify the time in the same depth as we can in our provider view, if we want to change the time of that appointment, I can click and under Start Time, change it to let's say 8 a.m. and that will be visible from here. We can also schedule appointments from this view, or if we want, we have a weekly view that functions much the same way. One thing that's important to note is that when we schedule from here, it will not default to a specific time slot, unlike clicking on the time slot, which will take you straight to the 2 p.m., for example. It's also important to note that it doesn't select a provider, but we'll want to select a provider that we're scheduling under as well. You can see we'll select that patient, give a reason to the appointment, and now I can schedule on the 22nd. Going back to our provider view, there's some other features available from here. We can navigate through the dates by clicking the calendar icon in the upper left. This will show all the dates that do have scheduled appointments. We can also adjust appointment types. You'll see clicking here gives us a legend, and you can see all of our available statuses. If I click to edit a patient's appointment, what it will actually let me do is go in and change the schedule status. This will correspond to what color the appointment shows up in. These can be modified from the legend by hitting the cog icon in the upper right. This will let you either modify existing statuses by clicking the edit button to let you change the description of the status and color, Or you can add a new status by clicking the Add New Status button that will prompt you to enter a name for the status, and then pick a color that the status type will be displayed in. As far as setting up the schedule, we have a couple of features that allow us to do that as well. The three bars in the upper right will bring up the menu. This has a couple things available. The first is Schedule Option. This lets us set our default time delta. That's going to be the default time slot on the schedule. Right now I have it set to 15 minutes, but it can be changed to your needs. You can also set the default status for added appointments. Back on the menu, we can also search for appointments. If we need to find out when a specific patient is scheduled, we can search through here. We can set up provider off time. If we need to block off certain provider schedules, we can select that provider and hit this plus button and enter the necessary information here. Other options from the menu, we can set up holidays. These are for recurring time off. For example, you can have lunch set up. Lastly, we also have this search button. This serves a couple of different functions. It lets us filter our schedule. If we look at today's provider view, we can look at just a single provider on the schedule, or if we actually have multiple facilities set up, we can switch legal entities as well.